When it comes to the classic Resident Evil trilogy, one of the best features they had was the item box. The big storage box that allowed you to store a large amount of items and weapons which can be recovered everywhere you find another item box. I know it doesn't make sense, but this concept was very useful in the series. The item boxes are usually found in the safe rooms along with the typewriters, and since the player can only carry a small amount of items in their inventory, the item box is perfect for storing those items that you won't be needing till much later in the game. The item box would always save us the trouble of having to backtrack for items like Resident Evil 0. As much as I liked that game, the absence of the item box was what really disappointed me, because even though it was cool to have the chance to drop items wherever you want, it still wasn't as useful as the item box. It made backtracking a huge annoyance. It would have been great to have both the item box and ability to drop items wherever you want, and it's a shame that the item box was still not included in the remastered version of Resident Evil 0. That game is a whole different topic on its own, but since we missed that opportunity, I'm hoping that the item box is brought back for the next upcoming remakes. It should be included, seeing as the item box itself will be featured in the collector's edition of the Resident Evil 2 remake. I'm not sure if it's already been mentioned that the item box will be in the game, but if not, then I'm sure this is a way of letting us know that it's going to be included. Now, even though it may not be a mystery as to what the item box looks like from inside, I'm sure you're expecting it to look like a kid's toy box. But in the manhwa of Resident Evil 3 The Last Escape, we are shown what the inside of one of the item boxes looks like. Surprisingly, it looks better than what we'd expect, even being able to hold weapons properly. We may not see what the rest of the items, such as the healing items, would look like, but I'm guessing that plants weren't meant to be thrown in such a box. But either way, I think this looks a lot better than simply throwing every item in a big empty box. I wonder if the item box will open up like this in the remake of Resident Evil 2. It would be neat to see it open up and present certain weapons in display once the lid opens. The item box was also featured in Resident Evil Code Veronica, but the next sequels would not utilize the item box. We actually get teased in the Outbreak series. In Resident Evil Outbreak File 2, if you choose the Desperate Times scenario, you'll be able to roam throughout the police station once again. But when you approach an item box, it does not open. Resident Evil Dead Aim did not have the item box, but it did offer a divided inventory that has different capacities for weapons, ammunition, healing items, and key items. Resident Evil Survivor simply let you store as many items in your inventory, including Resident Evil Gaiden. Survivor 2 was like Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. It was a minigame that did not require to include the item box. Resident Evil Revelations featured a weapon box to store only weapons in, which only 3 of them can be brought out at a time. Revelations 2 went back to the same formula as Resident Evil 0 and the Outbreak games. Resident Evil 4 replaced the item box with the merchant, letting us buy and sell weapons and items, even get a much bigger inventory space. Resident Evil 5 used the same concept as RE4, but instead of the merchant, it's now an item management screen. Resident Evil 6 once again did not feature the item box. Items can be dropped again. Key items would be stored separately from regular items. But finally, Resident Evil 7 brought the item box back from the dead. It's crazy to see just how many times Capcom has experimented with different options on managing items without the item box. But as you can see, the item box was always, and still is, one of the best features from the originals. And with that said, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, be sure to leave a like, share with others, and subscribe if you haven't. And if you'd like to see some extra content, or you'd like to see your name at the end of the videos, then feel free to support the channel by donating a single dollar to my Patreon. There are also additional perks for donating more than $1. The link is on the description, along with the link to my Facebook page, Tumblr, DeviantArt, and Twitter. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.